everybody. It is October 27, 2021, and this is Change the Shed. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. For those of you who have not been to Change the Shed before, or it's been a while, I started this when the pandemic started in March of 2020. So it's just a way to gather virtually. YouTube, not very interactive, but it is kind of fun to see you all show up in the comments and hear what you're weaving. So just a way to encourage people to keep weaving and come and share what you're doing. So if you're new here or you are watching the recordings, welcome. I'm just working on things for my studio, so which is in Fort Collins, Colorado at the moment. One other thing I want to mention before I show you what I'm working on is on my shop. So, the holidays are coming, and all people who own businesses are always in a flurry in September and October trying to figure out what they're going to do for the holidays, because we're trying to make a living mostly. But the one thing I'm doing is I have a fairly small number of my Art of Tapestry Weaving books that I'm bundling with the new online class, the Intro to Tapestry Weaving. And you get a free Untangled book with the bundle. So that is on my website right now. I don't have that many of them. So if you want one as a gift for someone, maybe who wants to learn tapestry weaving with my book and Intro to Tapestry Weaving course together, that would be a really nice present. I would jump on it soon because though I can order more books, no guarantees with the shipping problems in the USA that they will be able to come to me and arrive to you in time if you don't do it soon. So that is my one plug for the holidays, and that's most of it. So Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Let's not think about that anymore right now. It's only October. Hello from Whidbey Island and Idaho and Oregon and Anchorage, New York City, Central Texas. Oh yeah, storm. Like everybody's having storms, right? I heard there was a great big one out on the East Coast right now. California's getting rain. What the heck? Here in Colorado, we've had wind, and that's about it. You'll probably hear it. Even though I'm in the basement. Healdsburg, Northern California. Thanks, Cindy, giving me a plug for my course. The course is called Introduction to Tapestry Weaving, and I made it before I went hiking, as you might have noticed. It was one of those smart things where you do a big project and then you go on vacation and then you launch the project when you get back. So that was fun. Oh, hello from the UK and Baltimore and another person from the north of England. Welcome, everybody. It's fun to have you here from all over the world. And my apologies to those of you in Australia who are watching the replay, undoubtedly. It's like the middle of the night there. I wanted to watch the Irene Davis and Kate Durham Awards, which is going to happen, I think, live next week, and you can sign up to see it. And then I did the time conversion, and it's happening at 1 a.m. in Colorado, and that's about the worst possible time for me. So I think I'll be watching the recording on that one. So I'm with you in Australia if you're a recording person. Yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody. It's fun to see you here. So today I'm still working on this sample. I thought I might have it off the loom by now, and I'm almost done with it, but I had more questions. So best to just get the questions answered in a sample rather than having to answer them in a tapestry. So this is a sample for a tapestry based on some ideas from my Colorado trail hike this summer. And I'm having fun playing with, here I'll show you I'll show you what I'm doing. I am having fun playing with the different yarns. So if you saw this 2 weeks ago, down here, actually, you can still see a little bit of it. There's bleach white. And this is the unbleached Harrisville Highland, Harrisville Kohler singles. This is what I usually use in my tapestry. And then, so this is just plain. And then this is the Faro bleached white. So it's as white as you can get. And it has some silk mixed with it. And then here is the Harrisville singles by itself. And this is the Harrisville singles with the same silk added, which is quite lovely. I have to say I'm quite smitten with the unbleached, because the silk is also unbleached. So it's quite lovely with that silk in with the unbleached Harrisville. I have been working really hard not to make any final decision. I mean, there's some things that are clear as I'm doing the sample. Oh, I'm not going to do that in the tapestry, but I've been trying to withhold judgment until I get this off the loom and I can actually look at it up on the wall. It's really hard for me to do, but I think it helps figure out what some of the options are instead of just assuming. If you try something for 3 seconds, just assuming, oh, I don't like that, I'm not going to want to do it. Sometimes once you do a little more, you like it better. Okay. Welcome from India and Bainbridge Island and Edinburgh. Hi, Aisha. Oh, Nan says the bottom. Hold on. Thank you, Nan. Let me take this off. So let me move this down a little bit too. So you're trying to see what I'm talking about and you can't see it around the little banner there. So now you can see a little better the white. This is the bleach white with the silk. This is the unbleached, and this is the unbleached Harrisville with the silk added. And then this yarn I've been playing with is the Gists Array. So I have some on the other side. I had done some with Harrisville, which is what I have the most of. I have a ton of Harrisville singles, all hand-dyed by me. That's what I thought I would use for this project. And then this Array yarn came out, and it's slicker than the Harrisville. So I wanted to try to see what it looks like compared to a Fuzzier yarn. So that's what I'm working on. Yes. Okay, Barbara, I had to think about that a second. Barbara said the texture of the warp shows up so much more in the colored areas than in the white. Yeah, that's because of the yarn, Barbara. What I was just talking about, the Array is a much slicker yarn. So you can, she's talking about the warp ribs, I think, and that you can see them so much more here than you can here. And that is, this is a much fuzzier yarn. So that's one of the reasons I'm sampling, because I want to see how I feel about that. This is going to be a large piece. It's going to be probably 40 inches wide because, or 40 inches long, because that's the warp I have on the Harrisville loom that's right behind me. 40, I think it's 41 inches long. I'll weave it sideways. And the width I'm still debating. I'm filling in this little, well, I tell you what I'm doing. I'm filling in this little thing, and then this is going to be another color. So I'll show you, I'm going to set in a gradation here in just a minute. I was struggling this week with the format of the piece, trying to figure out why I was so stuck. And part of it was I just couldn't even decide what the format of the piece was going to be, meaning what the size is, basically. Is it going to be square or rectangular or what? So I actually drew out, I had already drawn out one format to look at, and I drew out another one and hung it up on the wall. You can't see it, it's on the other side of my studio, but just on a big white piece of paper, just to see what, oh, that's how big 40 by 25 is. It helps to do that. And then I also will actually draw the cartoon on that paper if I go with that format. I've been using a projector lately. Usually I would draw my designs small and bring them to the photocopy shop and just have them blown up, but I've been using a projector a little bit more because I can move it back and forth. So I can project the design at different sizes and look at them on the wall, and it is instructive to be able to do that. Hello from Greece and Hungary, and Chile. Gosh, all over the world. Thanks for coming, you all. Really wonderful to have you here. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Paula says that Harrisville with the silk, so here looks brighter on her monitor than down here. I agree with you in that, I agree with you, Paula, even from where I'm sitting. The silk, I think, is reflecting, and also that's a simultaneous contrast color theory thing where I'm actually mixing the silk is lighter than the wool, and so that mix is making the color look brighter. I just wanted to sample the plain Harrisville, but I think I like the silk a lot better. So again, trying to hold off on a decision until I see it, till the sample's off and I see it in the loom. Oh, thanks, Marlena. Yeah, I thought if you're interested in tapestry weaving, I wrote a book which was published last year called The Art of Tapestry Weaving. And those of you who've been here the whole time definitely have heard about it. But it's a great intro to tapestry book, and it's a good reference for other people also. But I thought it would be fun to bundle the book with the new intro course I just finished. So it's definitely intended for people who are beginners. Okay, we're almost done with this little filling in. All right, cut those off. And I am a big splicer. I especially like to splice with this Harrisville yarn because it's so grabby. It works really well. This is my very first tapestry yarns were Harrisville yarns, and I really like their singles, tapestry singles. It only comes in white. You have to dye it yourself. But Jennifer asked, are you using 4 strands of warp? I bet you mean weft. Is the set 6 EPI? No, the set is 8 EPI. This is 12/9 cotton seine twine and for warp, and I'm using, here's a bundle. For the white color, I'm using 3 strands of the Harrisville Kohler singles, which is what I usually use, at 8 ends per inch. You can use 4. It just depends on how fat you want your lines to be and how quickly you want to weave. And then I've added the silk. So there are 4 strands in there. So the bundle's a little bit thicker than normal for me. Okay, so I need, hold on. Sorry, I needed this. I've been doing eccentric outlines, which probably doesn't surprise any of you who've been watching this. So let's put one in. This design has, colors sort of coming down in, not really stripes, but sort of oblong shapes. And I'm weaving it sideways. So this will be a form that's much longer, but I wanted to just sample a part of it because one of the questions I haven't answered is, do I do any gradation at all in these shapes? Do I do a gradation like this where it goes from dark to light vertically as I'm weaving it, but when it's turned sideways, that'll be side to side? Or do I do something more like this, which I didn't decide to do until I was partway up, dark to light, so that it looks like it's dark at the top and light coming down? Or of course I could flip it and make it dark at the bottom and light at the top. These are reasons to sample. Okay, eccentric outline, eccentric outline, eccentric outline. I used to be an occupational therapist. I say eccentric because when I learned in school, this is how they taught us to say it, and my brain never. It has to do with muscle contraction, not with weaving. So I apologize for the weird terminology. I'm actually going to use this yarn. This is just a Rays burgundy. This one is 4, which is the lightest color they have, and this is 3. There are 4 grades. Actually, this is the number 1. This is the darkest one. I don't have number 2. So, but I'm just, because I have these 2, even though I used them down here, I'm going to grade them side to side. Another question, of course, that I have is, do I use this commercially dyed yarn, which I've never done in a large tapestry. I've always dyed my own. And are there enough, is the gradation enough to make me happy? Or do I use Harrisville singles, in which case it means dyeing some more yarn, because though I have some good colors, I don't have them in gradation. Or do I use solid colors, which I do have colors for? Okay. Because this is all the way across, we're just going to leave it like that, and I'm going to set in my gradation on here. It's funny, Marla says her cat keeps trying to catch my hands on the screen, I assume. I'm laughing because I compare that to, we're taking care of a little dog right now, and we were talking to her owners on Zoom, because they are in another country at the moment. And the little dog, I mean, her ears perked up like she heard their voices, but had no clue about the screen. Like, I think, and she's a smart dog. I think dogs don't get the screen thing, maybe? I don't know. Maybe some people's dogs do. I'm just going to set this in so you see it before I start fussing with anything else. I'm going to use 4 different bundles because I have 2 colors. Oh, wait, I have 5 bundles. I have 2 colors. And so if I have 4 strands, if I mix them between the 2 colors, I end up with 5 total bundles to do a gradation between those 2 colors. Let me just make sure I'm getting this. That's the 2 and 2. Sometimes you can't see when the colors are close enough, you can't actually see them until, you can't see that you've made a mistake until you've started to weave. So I'm going to set these in eccentrically, but I will then go back to weaving to fill it in side to side. So that's meet and separate, coming together, going apart, coming together, going apart. Susan is in Florida, where it is apparently warm and sunny, and that is fabulous, Susan. I think most of the rest of us have weird weather today. In the United States, I'm sure some of you have fabulous weather wherever you are. I am going to go back here and splice this a second because actually sometimes with samples I don't necessarily bother with how I would do it in the finished piece, because sometimes with a sample it's actually good to see the tails of the yarn so that you know what colors you are using. I also sometimes, you can see I have a tag down here, I sometimes will tag things right on the weaving so that I know I don't need that much yarn in that tail. So I know what I did when I take it off, because my memory is not great. So what that tag said was that that was 4 strands. That's another reason I wanted to do one more example. This is 4 strands of the array, and this is 3 strands. And as I was weaving this, I kept thinking, God, it's taking so long to weave this far. Why is it taking so long? It's because the array is thinner than the Harrisville singles that I usually use. And so the bundle's thinner, and so you have to put in more sequences to fill up the area. And it suddenly occurred to me, why don't I try 4 strands? Because it will go faster on a big piece. So on the small pieces I was weaving with this on Change the Shed, you saw me use 3 strands of the array yarn. And that works great. And on small pieces, you know, the thinner bundle makes finer lines, and sometimes that's really nice for small pieces. You can get more detail. But I'm talking about weaving a very large piece, and I want it to go faster, and I don't need that detail on a large piece, so going to 4 strands seemed smart. This tail is going to be wrong. Susan says it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow in Florida, so there we go. I'm going to just start here filling in. Sorry, my hands are going to definitely be in the way there. This, because this dips down, I need to fill in and make it level. I'm using the a Mirax loom with the electric treadle on it, which is why I am not reaching to change the shed. And you can see right here why I like the treadle. It's way faster. Just for weaving samples especially, I really like it. Because it's faster. Okay. I'm going to use these 2 to fill in this dip. I've been working on my Navajo or Dene beater technique, which I am not good at, but if you can hang on to your beater, speaking of speed, if you can hang on to your beater while you're working, it is faster. I'm often not concerned about speed, but when I'm doing a sample and I know what I want to see, I like it too. These colors are pretty close, so the other question, of course, with this yarn that I'm not familiar with is, do I need to really hatch them together, or are they close enough that I don't actually have to worry about that much? Hatching is always safe, though. Because again, sometimes you can't see those color things until it's off the loom and you stand back and you go, oh, whoops. I one time wove a whole area with the wrong butterfly. It was really disappointing. I actually took it. It was still on the loom. I think I wrote a blog post about this. It was the Lifelines piece. I actually picked out that wrong color, and it was in a hatched area. I picked it all out. I had already woven like 5 inches. I picked it all out and needled in the new area, and it worked, but I don't recommend it. Emily says that the electric treadle sounds like a typewriter return. That's funny. Christina wanted to know what loom it is. This is the Mirax, I think it's called the Zac. It's the 22-inch loom. It's actually one of my favorite of the Mirax looms because it's large and it's really stable, and It's a good piece of equipment. Oh, see, I'm behind. Sorry about that. Let's fill that in. Okay. I often twist the Harrisville yarns a little bit to mix them. And these yarns are plied. The array yarns are 2-ply. And so if I twist them, I have to twist them the opposite direction of the way I've been twisting my yarn for 15 years. Not 15. Yeah, almost 15 years. It's really hard to change your habits in terms of twist direction. I probably will not ply these on the spinning wheel if I use them because they behave really quite well. And I think the gradations are good enough that I'm not going to have to worry about that. Okay, so and I just realized that what I did forget down here was I've been playing with these black outlines, and you can see that sometimes I've put them in and sometimes I haven't. Sometimes they go all the way to the end and sometimes they don't. It's actually a dark green. It's not black. But I think I'll know when I take it off the loom whether I like it or not. Harlan asked what are the pros and cons for the Murex, the 22 versus the 28. Harlan, I think it's just size. So this one weaves to 22, and the 28 is 6 inches wider. I think they should work the same. One thing I have noticed as I've gone back to, I haven't used this bigger loom for quite a while, even though I really like it. One thing I've noticed is that some of you have probably heard me say in other things I've done that I don't use the Murex, hang on, this little thing. I think they've actually changed how this looks, but this comes with your loom and it's a wrench to adjust the wing nuts on the sides. And I haven't used it on the smaller looms, and I realized, on the bigger loom, as you get wider, to get the warp tight enough, I have to use the wrench again. So I apologize in past if I've said, in trying to talk about warp, how tight your warp should be, I've said, well, I don't use that wrench. Well, I don't use that wrench on the Lanny loom, the little guy loom, or the big sister loom, which are the 8, 12, and 16-inch looms. But on this loom, I find, with a 10-inch piece even, that I have to use the wrench. So a little bit of a matter of tension. As your looms get bigger, you're going to have to work a little harder to get your warp tension tight enough. But I think that those looms will work the same. I've never actually had a 28-inch Harlan, so this is the biggest Murex that I have. I mostly work on floor looms for big pieces. So for my personal work, I haven't. I'm trying to think what the biggest piece I've done on a Murex is. I bet I haven't done anything wider than like 12 to 15 inches. Yeah, Marla asked, could you use a needle to put that outline in? I totally could. It's not ideal, but if I still want to add it, I could. I probably would do it soon, but you could push this apart a little bit, take a needle. You have to. I would want to put it in as an eccentric split weft outline, which is a thing I talk about in Warp and Weft online class. But I would split apart the white and the pink and put a full sequence of the outline in between so that I got a really clear, very thin, clear straight line like this one. But yes, I have been known to do those things. You can fix a lot of stuff on a tapestry, even when you get it off the loom. So, my goal for this thing is to, I think once I finish this little piece, I want to end with more of this, a fairly wide bar of more of this Kohler singles. The bottom is this white, bleach white, and I want to end with the unbleached white so that I can hang this thing on the wall and actually look at what is it going to look like on the edges. If the edges are not colored but are white, what is that going to look like? Especially if the piece is really fairly large. It's not monumental, but it is bigger than I would put in a frame. So that would be an option on a small piece, is to frame it, and that would help with the white. My thought being that the white edge is a lot of people have white walls, and that the white tapestry is going to completely disappear into a white wall. So this is just plain old irregular hatching, blending these colors, and I'm pretty pleased with this. Is the first time I've actually used this yarn like this, hatched with a color gradation with all the options, mostly because these are the only two colors I have that are close enough together to do this at the moment, because I haven't ordered the rest yet. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think the gradation is nice. From this light to this next dark, it's amazing how in the weaving there's such a big change, but when you look at them like this, you're like, oh, those are so close together. Makes a big difference to see it woven. Oh goodness. This is the puppy dog I was talking about. She just came down to see what was up. So this is Rosie. She wants to say hi, everybody. It's been a long time since there was a dog in this house, so okay. Good girl. Yeah, it's been oops, sorry. It's been a long time since we had a dog around. She also rarely comes down here, so she must have heard me talk about you all, or talk about her on. Let's see. Hi, Jennifer from North Carolina. Blue skies and fall. I love the fall. It is fall up here in the Northern Hemisphere. And in Colorado, we actually get fall, which is nice. The leaves in town we had a lot of wind, so they mostly have blown off in the last couple of days, but they've been so beautiful. Yes, actually, that's what I was going to say, Paula, and thank you for making my brain. Rosie came down and distracted me. Paula asked if you added the outline, so if I spread this apart and add the outline in the middle, would I need to weave 2 passes so I end up in the correct shed? Yes, absolutely. I would have to weave a full sequence. And I've been doing the outline with just one strand of the, this is the Kohler singles, Harrisville Kohler singles. That is another thing I could sample. I actually have another sample loom going for this, so if I sample this, I'll do it on the other loom. But how wide should that outline be? And when you put the piece up on the wall and stand back, how wide does it need to be to get the effect that you want? So I like, from this distance, I like this really thin, dark outline. It doesn't like jump out as being like a really heavy line, but it might not be enough. For a large piece, people tend to stand back when they look at a large piece. Do I want that outline to be visible or to disappear? Is the question. I am also in danger of sampling forever. So at some point, I will just need to start weaving, and then if I like the results and I need to try something new, I can weave another one. Weaving in series, we call that. Yeah, Rosie's a cute pup. She's a little bit older. She's super mellow. She just sleeps all day long, and then she goes for a walk, and she's like the best dog to have around. I never thought I would be a small dog person, but she's been really great. It's gonna be hard to give her back to her family. Okay, so I think you got the idea here of the gradation. I have to keep building this up, and then this lighter color can pop in and keep going. So this whole pattern will just go until I want to weave enough that I can really see it. So this is how big the element will be in the actual tapestry. And so that's an important thing for me when sampling, to make sure that I weave something that's the size it's going to be in the tapestry, so I can actually get a feel for what it's going to be like. I'm not weaving like a miniature version of the tapestry. I hope you all are having a good fall wherever you are. Thank you to everyone who comes to hang out. And I will be back on Change the Shed in a couple weeks. 2 weeks. I don't know what the date is because I didn't manage to look it up, but I do probably most of you are finding it, but on YouTube I do what do they call it? Oh, a scheduled post. So if you go to my page and click on live, you should be able to find the scheduled live feed, and then that one will go live when I go up. So it shouldn't be too hard to find. So that's what I'm working on. I super duper crossing my fingers that this will be off the loom by this weekend and I can make more decisions. And then my goal for Change the Shed in the next couple of months is to weave it on this loom behind me and actually show it to you all. So that should be really fun. Oh, thanks, Marlena. November 10. That sounds right. November 10, hopefully I'll be able to show you the sample. I will be able to show you the sample. I can't promise that I will have the piece started on that loom by then, but that would be a great, great goal. Thanks for coming, everybody. And gosh, have a great fall. Enjoy the leaves and go outside if you can. And if you're down where it's hot and it's spring, hopefully you're enjoying spring and it's not too hot yet. All right. Thanks, everybody. And I will catch you again on November the 10th. Thanks.